Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mr. Red's Lair. I am Mr. Red.
And I am April Mendoza.
Today, we are speaking to the filmmakers of a film called An Electric Sleep.
Yeah, if you guys want to introduce yourselves real quick.
Yeah, I'm Ben Taylor.
Hey, I'm Theo Brown. I'm the director of the film.
Oh, I guess I wrote and produced the film.
Right.
Can't forget that.
Already.
He's just here.
I already see the dynamic at play.
I love
you
it.
write and direct, you write and produce.
Yeah.
So tell me, gentlemen, at the end of the show, by the way, we are going to be showing a trailer of the film, so stick around. And we're just going to hash it out, talk filmmaking, pain, and glory here.
Yeah, talk
You know
about the
what
making
I mean?
of an indie sci-fi film, right?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
So
Okay, now the first thing I want to ask is just where do you guys come from? How did you guys find each other?
Oh, man. Yeah, so I'm from Northern California. Technically, my family is from LA, both South Central and the Valley. But when I was about 8, we moved up to NorCal, and then high school and all that. And then I did college in Tennessee, where I bumped into him.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
guys are from Tennessee.
I'm from the great filmmaking hub of Dallas, Texas.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, grew up in Dallas. Went to college called Oakwood, and then transferred from there to small school in Chattanooga, Tennessee, called Southern, and bumped into this guy.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
a good meeting story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're destined to be, like collaborators. Like, what are the chances of you guys meeting? And how long ago was this?
Oh, boy.
Oh man,
At this point?
I can't count that long. I wasn't a math major.
At this point? Yeah, it was definitely, we're getting close to that 20-year mark.
No
Don't say
way.
those numbers out
We're
loud.
getting close to that.
Let me
yeah?
ask, what did you guys bond over?
The Muppets.
Muppets?
No way.
Oh, yeah?
Actually, I'll never forget. We were there early in the summer, and he was playing air hockey, and I came in, and he was wearing a Muppets hat, and I was wearing a Muppets belt buckle.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
stop it.
So-
Yeah.
That's like a literal meet cute.
It's the corniest thing in the world.
May I ask which characters were on the belt buckle and the hat?
I had an electric sleep. Wow.
We see where you're
The
going.
Electric Mayhem hat, which is
Yeah.
the band with Dr. Teeth. I feel like your audience will immediately know.
Yes, I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Yeah,
And what
mine
about
was
you?
just kind of like the original show logo, the Muppet Show,
Nice.
as a belt buckle.
Nice. And you're talking the OG show.
Yeah.
where it was
Oh, yeah.
Irreverent, almost like Saturday Night
Yes,
Live.
yes.
We're not posers here for the Muppets. This is,
The- Ben and Theo are not posers, everyone. They are the real deal. They know the Muppets. Okay, so what about films and stuff like that? Was that an immediate connection, or did
Oh, man. I mean, I think, because it's like, hey, Muppets, all right, well, do you like Spider-Man? Dude, I love Spider-Man.
Right.
It gets into Star Wars, Star Trek,
Yeah.
superheroes.
Yeah.
it's a Venn diagram of a circle. I mean, being truthful. So you start realizing really quick, it's like, man, there's not a lot of people that want to talk until 1 a.m. about
Yeah.
Tron.
Right.
So
It reminds me of Step Brothers a little bit. It's like, did we just become best friends?
Well, was it an immediate clicking between you two, or did you kind of think like, oh, I don't know about this guy, and then the other guy thinks, I don't know.
Because
about
sometimes
this
it
guy.
is one of those things where it's like something about you. I don't know if I like you or if I hate you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Some of my best friends, I thought they were the biggest assholes, and now we're
man.
best of friends.
Yeah.
So, but you guys immediately clicked.
I want to hear more about your best
Oh,
friends.
right.
There might be
That
some-
sounds like you got
I have such karma and such great friends. But yeah, no. So you guys immediately clicked with one another, right?
Yeah. And then, because I remember there was the one weekend when Levi and the other homies from Oakwood came up.
Yeah.
And I know Levi from Sacramento. And I was like, what are you doing with this guy?
Right.
And then I think I met Kofi on a different trip.
Yeah.
And we kept having mutual friends from other places.
Our friend Levi, I met him at Oakwood, the first school that I went, and Levi got really close because he also liked the Muppets and Tron. You're probably noticing.
Right.
You know,
I'm
You like
noticing the
Muppets and
Tron Muppet pattern.
it's a simple life, but it's a good life.
It's the life I leave, sir.
so all your
live,
friends
yeah.
have to like the Muppets and Tron.
Well, I mean, it's kind of been a trend.
Welcome to the club.
Right, thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you. Apart from Tron and Muppets, what else were your jams that you guys were excited about as young men getting into the arts?
We're guessing sci-fi films.
Yeah.
So I was actually studying film, but he was in animation. And so we were in departments that are really close as well. And so there was that overlap. I mean, you guys can talk to it more, but, he's drawing, learning from like these
Okay.
Disney masters that were there. And I mean, I'm a big sci-fi, fan just in general. Big James Cameron, obviously Steven Spielberg, grew up in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there was a group of us that all kind of like those same kind of things. And it was a small school already. So once you kind of connect with those kind of people and you're in college, so you're still like learning about, the process of filmmaking and things like that, watching movies on the screen and then trying to break it down like within your circles. It's like the Social Network, but you're only talking about Tron.
Right.
It's I brought that back.
It's a wonderful thing being an adult because you could build a world for yourself that revolves around Muppets and Tron and Spider-Man. You know what I mean? It's just great being an adult. It's the greatest thing. I feel bad for kids today. What about you, sir? Like, he mentioned James Cameron, which, by the way, you guys nailed the James Cameron blue. You know what I'm talking about in your film.
You can see the influence in your guys'
I can see it a little bit.
Like something like I'm been in like that color grade.
That kind of like that futuristic kind of thing.
Great,
that
so great, by the way. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
We just watched it. Yeah, it was great. Great stuff. Great stuff.
Thank you.
And by the way, so you have a background in animation. What were your jams like animation wise?
Well, my animation Bible was Ren and Stimpy, actually.
Nice.
Oh, right,
Like
right.
I had the DVDs and I would just rewatch them. That was one of the main reasons why I started out in animation. I did not finish in animation, but and Ren and Stimpy was huge. All the superhero stuff. Again, obviously very nerdy things.
Right.
But I do remember when we started connecting in the film world, because I was acting at the time. And the film students obviously always needed actors, and so then I started to mingle in that way. Eventually I started taking screenwriting, and then I'll never forget the one summer you picked up the Reservoir Dogs DVD. And you're like, bro, have you ever seen this? I'm like, nah. And you're like, me either.
Oh, I love that.
And then we watched it on the smallest laptop possible.
It was the biggest laptop at the time, for the record. It was,
And like, I remember that, like, that was one of those most formative, like, oh man, I think I like.
You guys discovered
films.
a gem together. Like,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, so animation? Are you still doing animation?
No,
Or-
no.
okay.
I can't remember the last time I've drawn anything.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, we love animation at Wild 7. We have our animation studio.
We have a spectacular animation department. And but let me real talk though. You say you haven't drawn in a while.
Yeah.
You kind of like it, right? Like, you're
Oh,
like,
I love it.
Yeah, like you're like, I'm good with not drawing.
Yeah, once I kind of transitioned into the film world, and then even more specifically, what you mentioned earlier, I found that I like producing is my jam.
Nice.
I like writing. I just tried directing for the first time, which only made me love producing even more.
Right.
Like producing is my jam, and it feels like a place where I can merge a lot of my different interests and not have to be the master of any of the interests. And
No,
then,
I can relate. I do both as well, but like there's something to producing where you get to be involved in every step of the journey.
Yeah.
And you can be creative. You can be a creative producer, but not totally like in control of the creative vision.
Exactly. So it's
nice
not your fault. You'd be like, fix that.
Yeah.
That's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it, but you have to.
Yeah.
Now, if I may ask, when did the filmmaking start? Like the nitty gritty of it all?
I feel like it was in college.
Yeah,
It had to have been Social Vice.
Yeah, I didn't grow up making films. Especially you go to like a school and you're studying film. Most people's stories like, oh, I was 7 years old and like parents had a video camera. Like I didn't. I just loved watching Back to the Future and Twister DVDs with director's commentary.
Yeah.
Because like that was like
I miss that.
That was your film school at that time.
I'm in high school, and like Lord of the Rings is coming out, and there's like this indie movie at South by Southwest called Brick, and I don't know what that is, and so you're kind of like picking and choosing. My mom was like a big into like, especially like black independent kind of films and stuff, but it wasn't until I went to college was when I first started making projects, and my first year at the school, so my sophomore year, we have to produce a short film, and BJ actually acted in it because he was in his acting bag and stuff at the time. But I think that was like the first time really where, for myself, was kind of getting used to like, oh, okay, this is the process of filmmaking, and you also realize really quickly, right? Like look at the blank page or whatnot. It's like, I'm either the worst writer in the world or I'm Hemingway. And you type that first word and you're like, it's clearly not Hemingway.
And you weren't drinking enough. That was the problem.
But that was like the first process. But BJ was the social vice of the school as well. And so when he wanted to kind of make, video promos, again, this is 2007, 2008. So that kind of video content you weren't seeing a lot of. And all of a sudden, we're making these like comedy videos that play in front of the entire school.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of...
It was like your school's bulletin. I don't know if that's what you call it, but we had something like that. Like every morning, they would have like a little like skits and stuff, and then tell like the news of the school.
So it was like a Thursday thing when everyone came together and there'd be some presentation or whatever. And when I was the social vice, I had this opportunity to promote one of our parties. Yeah. I think it was the Joker party. And that was like our first time doing a superhero concept where we had this really, I remember him being talented, but we had a friend of ours.
Michael Ennis, man.
Come
on, man. That's the OG.
We got him in white makeup all the way, like all around his face, his green hair, and he was terrifying as the Joker in our little short promo.
We really got to say, though, the Joker is the name of like the student handbook. I just don't want you guys are like the Joker release party with these guys.
It was definitely
with Warner Brothers.
The ideas were random for sure, but we figured out a way to get Joker live screen.
Right. So
fun.
When you were making these like shorts, the natural thing for you guys to do was to lean them towards comedy, right? Or were they just any genre, or were you already doing the sci-fi thing?
Man, that's a great question. It was kind of all of it. I mean, for those kind of parties, the cool thing was that there was a specific, like a marketing, like a commercial, or even like a movie. Where like, hey, we're looking for this kind of product, right, kind of thing. And then we would go back from there. So we're like, okay, maybe the Joker release video is a serious one, but he had a 90s party, which you're going to love. Of course, we involved a Muppet in that, so that had like a bit of a comedy thing. So really, we were just kind of using any and every opportunity to try out different things. That was something I really wanted to do, like in film school, was more so like just trying stuff. Let's just like see if it works. We got this gear and stuff like that. Like I just wanted to, try master shots and things like that. Just trying to like learn and understand the cinematic language of those things. But obviously it's such a basic level because you're still trying to learn what is a good story and also actually how to write a script formatted right. And you're just kind of learning everything at once. So I think for myself especially, I was just trying like, man, this looked cool. Let me just try to do this.
Right.
Don't you miss those days though? I feel like you could be like way more experimental when you're like getting into it for the first time.
Yeah,
and then
fun.
over the years, sometimes you kind of restrict yourself a little bit and you get so in your head.
Yeah.
It's like there's something really special about like the college years.
It's the curse of knowledge in a way.
It is, it really is.
You miss the days when nobody cared.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
when
you
you're
could
like, let me
do
just
your
shoot this on my
thing
phone.
and,
Like,
Well,
just
I
write
was
some
even
stuff.
going to say, at the time, he's in film school. I don't think I had a degree proclaimed at the time. And so I was just doing these parties. I was running these events. And so when we partnered up, I'm haphazardly producing.
Right, yeah, I was going to say.
And what I found was even throwing these events was actually my film school for a producer because I learned how to, juggle all the things and, herding all the cats. And so, we're very haphazardly just like learning how to make stuff because we're giggling and having fun. And, there was absolutely like an innocence to it. Just kind of exploring and just like really enjoying film, I guess.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think that like everything that you've done up until this moment has led you exactly where you're at today.
Yeah,
that's true.
And it's been training you to make your film. Well, I wanted to ask you guys, so going back to An Electric Sleep, is this your guys' first feature?
Technically?
Yeah?
Yes.
What do you mean by technically? Yeah.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Well, because, go ahead.
So we started An Electric Sleep, obviously a lower budgeted film, but in the process, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more, but like in the process of making that, I had a friend that was asked to kind of make like this adapt a kid's book pretty much into like this kid's movie kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
And so while we were in post of Electric Sleep, BJ kind of did like the first kind of writing of like on that project. That project had a bigger budget. We shot that actually in Atlanta around there.
Okay.
Bigger budget. Obviously the timeline was buttoned up. And then, so we kind of like got that done and then went back to Electric Sleep.
So the production part was first for Electric Sleep, but it wasn't the first completed.
Yeah.
Which is funny because our DP, because like basically when we did our first feature, Debbie and the Devil, it was my first, his first, our partner Chris's first, and then our DP Lucas, it was his first. It was a lot of people's first feature film.
Yeah.
But our DP ended up getting a job because somebody saw the footage from our film. And so he ended up getting on a feature and finishing that before our movie was done. So side little connection.
Well, that's why you do it, right? It's like, and what we were saying when we were getting ready for the project was, we need to get on set for a feature film so people can look at us as feature filmmakers.
Right.
And that way we can either get the bigger jobs, the bigger budgets, whatever. Right. And it's almost immediately when someone finds out, you shot a feature or shooting a feature.
Doesn't matter if you finished it or not. It's just
we worked on set for the next one.
Right.
And it's like, it works like immediately. Yeah,
and
it's
so
incredible.
crazy.
What is the status of this children's thing? And side question, are there any Muppet-like creatures?
And to answer the second one, it is the saddest, most unfortunate no.
No Muppets.
It's done. It was kind of released in some ways, like connected as like again as a film. But I think the final where it kind of landed is like they kind of broke it up into chapters and released it as like a mini series kind of thing like that. It's available. It's called Smoky Mountain Rescue. It stars 3 children and a dog. Yeah. So clearly we wanted to make it as easy as possible.
There was a bear.
There was a bear. We did have a bear.
So, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like a live,
like a real bear.
A real bear.
And there was a wrangler.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we can obviously we can talk about that. It was incredible.
It's not a wild bear. I think I get your question.
I have to ask, what for a lot of first-time filmmakers, which you guys are kind of like 2-time first-time filmmakers in a way with this film and with An Electric Sleep. We get to a point where it's like, fuck, I got to make my movie. I just got to do it and stuff. Yeah. Was An Electric Sleep that? Was it? Yeah. It was. Yeah,
we love hearing like what was that moment that you guys were like, you know what, fuck it, like we're just gonna make this movie.
So we had been working. We've done a bunch of short films, obviously since college, and then after graduation, we're out here. We have a very specific goal. We want to make superhero stuff, sci-fi stuff. And we thought, we'll make some shorts and raise the money and get in the festivals, all that. And then we came across some information online where this guy was basically saying, don't do that. Yeah. Spend a little bit of money on a feature film, and then you have a product that can be bought and sold.
Right.
And so from there, we wrote like 3 or 4 scripts.
It changed the entire paradigm of how we approached.
Completely.
And I remember somebody said, he said that a film is movie that nobody paid to see. And now this guy, he'd been working as a producer in the 80s and 90s, like, long. He was Roger Corman's guy.
Oh, nice.
And so, like, again, like his approach that he was saying really, I think, aligned with, the thing that the Muppets, the thing that Pulp Fiction, the thing that Avatar, Terminator, all these things have in common is that these are entertainment things that audiences resonated with, have certain standards, and made money. And I think even when we were making our shorts, we would notice when we moved out here, we were making shorts, screening them at our house, moving to bigger venues. People kept showing up. And I know that I didn't really realize at the time, I'm like, I'm just kind of making stuff. People are like, wow, this is really good. But like, to me, it's clearly not Pulp Fiction and stuff. Yeah. Right. But hearing that guy just kind of like talking to, I think it was the kind of thing where I think for us, going to what BJ was saying, we can keep making shorts. And obviously people do break out in shorts, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you put in 50,000, 60,000, whatnot, do the festival thing, maybe get into Sundance or something like that. And maybe, but for us, he was approaching feature filmmaking and he's like, no, you make movies. Yeah. Like you're starting out, like you're changing the paradigm almost like for yourself. Yeah.
Speaking of which, did you notice after the movie was released, it's put on the market, the paradigm does shift for a filmmaker?
Oh, immediately.
Could you explain that a little bit?
I noticed for myself when I would talk to people, oh, hey, like, what do you do? I mean, obviously we're in LA, right? It's like, oh, what do you do? Like, I work in film. Okay, what do you do in film? I direct. And of course, it's like Sure, just so everybody.
Right.
And then like, oh, like, do you do shorts or movies? Like, oh, no, like features.
I did a movie, motherfucker.
Yeah. But usually,
Right.
and I'm sure you guys probably found this out as well, it's like usually something changes. And even like for myself, you know, like working with people that I admired in the industry, they were just like, doesn't matter what it looked like, you did it.
Yeah.
You have now gained entrance into a different room. Doesn't mean
Right.
that like
you
have
level up like in a video game. It's like
Literally
you know,
level
like
up.
level
Yes.
4, you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
Until the next level up.
Yeah.
You know,
So it
bigger
was
budgets.
huge. It was for me. I mean, it's changed everything. It's changed how I can connect with people. It's helped me, you know, get in different rooms now just
Yeah.
because it's like, oh no, I've done it.
But I also think a big part of it is the confidence. Like I think more than anything, it allows you to have more confidence as a filmmaker, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know if you guys ever experienced like what's that called? Like I'm blanking on the word.
Imposter syndrome.
Thank you. Yes, imposter syndrome. You
Yeah,
know, like
of
have you
course.
guys felt that? Like,
Of course,
especially
yeah.
before making a feature film.
Well, and so, you know, talking about this paradigm thing, there's so many phases of emotion and experience with your feature that no one could have prepared you for.
Yeah.
You know, there's the suicide edit where you're just like watching this thing and you're just like, what have you done? Like, what is
We made
this?
a terrible mistake.
We made a terrible mistake. And then you have like
Yeah.
when the suicide edit is now a final cut. And you're like, oh, that's pretty good. And then you get the color and then you get the VFX. You're like, oh, I think we did something.
Yes.
Then it's the festival submission.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what have I done? Right? Like, we're going to get into this festival. This one's a shoo-in.
Yeah.
And then all these like, no, we don't want you, no.
Oh my
but
God.
then you
Yep.
get into your first festival.
Yeah.
And you're like, and it's
Yeah.
just this, and, you know, eventually get to this point where you finish your festival,
Mm-hmm.
you actually get a distribution deal, you get on the streaming service. You know, we've won some awards that I'm really proud of.
Nice,
Best
congratulations.
director, best picture. We've done a
Nice,
good
that's
job.
awesome. Yeah.
And now people can see it around the country, soon to be around the world.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And it's on Tubi.
It's on Tubi.
Which is amazing. We love Tubi here.
We love
I know. I
Tubi
hear you guys
here.
talking about
Tubi's
and
great.
praising Tubi. We're,
Yes.
we're huge
Yeah.
fans.
Yes.
Tubi, sponsor us, please.
Please.
But
Call
yeah.
us all.
Yeah.
I love it because it is international, you know, and it exposes you like to these completely new audiences that are outside of your guys' circle. Like, have you guys started to
Yes.
see that yet? Like, where it's just outsiders that are like reviewing your film or commenting on it.
Every so often I check Letterbox.
yeah.
This guy checks like
I
every
check
week.
it every day.
He's like, I'm like, what are you doing, Nas? He's like, oh, just vanity searching. He's like, oh, I got a new review on Letterboxd.
Hey, part of the paradigm shift is vanity searching. It's the greatest thing.
The thing is, I don't even think of it as. I think again, like for me personally, it's like that's a part of like movies, right? You hear like the bigger people, they're like, you know, movie came out, let's check the trades. What are the reviews coming in? And I think now for us, the Letterboxd kind of thing is a thing that changes it from like, oh, here's a thing that's only my friends are seeing. It's like, no, once it's out there, you know,
especially
Mystic 23006, which was my old Yahoo account from like sixth grade, is like reviewing your film, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you don't know this person at all. Like it's like your film, your movie has to stand on its legs, or maybe it doesn't stand on its legs, depending on you know. And I think there's something to that. I mean, maybe for some people it is vanity, but I think for other people it's like, you know, what are they seeing? Are they seeing the same things that I know? Are they seeing something different?
Right.
Because I think we're learning still. You know, I think that's a very important part. The review,
In fact,
the critic part.
I think that's like something that we've really held on to actually is we're not going to like lie to ourselves about this project, right? It's not on Netflix, right? Like we know where it's not and what it wasn't going to go to Sundance. We knew that there's a certain moment in the work that we're doing where we're like, oh, Scorsese is probably not going to watch this movie. But I think there's something important in having that self-awareness and being able to see that, because then the next question is like, well, why not? What do I need? What can I do next time? How can I fix that? What can I apply?
And speaking of like, you know, leveling up and stuff, I'm really looking forward to the next film of you guys, because you guys did a sci-fi film on what I imagine to be a limited budget. But you guys did there was a lot of special effects in
213,
that. 213 special effects shots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Real quick before.
How do I know that? I have nightmares. No.
Can you guys quickly tell our audience what your film is, just briefly? Like what is an electric scene?
Okay, I haven't pitched in a while, man.
I mean, that's why I passed it to you.
It's okay. It doesn't, just generally.
It doesn't have to
you
be
know, just generally,
the
like,
AFM
what
pitch.
is it? Yeah.
So it's first off, I'll say if you're a fan of Twilight Zone or Black Mirror, do I look into this camera?
Yeah, this one's good.
Go for it.
If you're a fan of Twilight Zone, Black Mirror, that's what we're really inspired by.
Totally.
We are also, I like to say this anytime I can, we wanted to see minorities in leading roles in a sci-fi that had nothing to do with about race or culture.
Yeah, I
it's
love
just
that.
a normal,
100%.
stupid scientist have a problem issue. But yeah, the story, because of the budget, we had to come up with something very high concept, low budget. So the idea was we have this teenager that has this fatal disease. They can't find the cure, but she found out the scientists that were responsible for making the disease. So she goes to find the scientists, holds them hostage, demanding the cure. All the while, there's this team of mercenaries coming to kill them all to keep the secret dead.
Okay.
And I wrote that before the pandemic because I am a prophet.
Whoa!
He's got the beard and everything.
Okay, that was crazy. Which great pitch. I love that. I was gonna ask, was it before the pandemic or during or after?
The idea was around 2017. The finished script was 2018, and we got on set 2018.
It was stopping. I mean, it's so weird to say this because we were shooting in 2018. One of our leads breaks their foot. Not on set. But
Not your fault.
breaks their foot.
Okay.
So like we the things that we have left are like walking, running, fighting, all the things that like, you know, you gotta
all the foot stuff.
Not just like walking, but like we need you to be like healed.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, Indie crew will be back in 4 to 6 months to finish that. So then we come and then we do that kind of stuff as well. But the great thing that, and this was always intentional, is that we have a really close friend named Ralph Jean-Pierre, incredible human, incredible brother, and also an amazing editor. He was working on Lost in Space at the time. He worked on the M. Night Shyamalan show, The Servant. Now he's working on Tokyo Vice.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So not only as a storyteller, but like also having someone like them from the jump where we're like, hey, this stuff is happening. Can we get started with this? You know, was it good, fast, or cheap, right? You can only have two. And we want it to be good and we want it to be cheap.
Yeah.
So like even while we were waiting to keep shooting, we were still, you know, like we were still seeing like, you know, a couple of reels of the film and stuff like that. So that plate kept spinning, which was great for when we would be able to shoot. We got most of our stuff done in 2019. Had a couple more stuff that we're like, oh, we'll just pick that up at the top of 2020.
Love it. That's
surprise.
When the news of COVID hit, did you guys think, what have I done? You know?
Were you excited? Kind of like, oh, we can capitalize on this.
Right.
I left right away. My family's up in NorCal. My sister was home alone. My parents were actually in Hawaii at the time, and so I was like, I think I need to go like take care of my sister real quick. Because she didn't know what to do. And then my parents are coming in, like they had no idea what was going on. So they're all like Hawaii, like chilling, coming off the plane. And I'm like, cover your face. You're at the airport. It was crazy. But yeah, no, I kind of took the opportunity to like run and hide for a couple months. Like I don't even think we really talked about the movie.
Wait, so was it your film? It was in post, right?
Yeah, we were in post. I mean, there was a couple of scenes, and this truthfully, this goes to our editor, because we had. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think back. We had a cut of the movie before COVID, because I remember that we were just like, there was this hit, and we were like, I think that's the movie. We were close to there, but then like kind of like during COVID, like our editor was like, it would be really great if we can. Do these pickups, maybe write like some additional scenes and things like that.
Yeah.
And so we were able to, I mean, this was obviously COVID was a terrible, terrible thing. But one of the things that we were able to kind of use it to is that all those film festivals, everything like that, everything got hit on pause. So it wasn't like the world was going and it was just us slowing down.
Right.
Everything slowed down. So we were able to, you know, like shoot a couple scenes to help like kind of bridge, you know, things more. For myself, I was working with our colorist and our VFX person trying to get that to work. Our VFX person was based, you know, in Philadelphia as well. we have never worked on a project this big, that many shots. So
It's a lot, yeah. And it looks great. Like
You said
it's really
213.
impressive, yeah.
213.
Yeah,
Wow.
the VFX artist, he is like, it was one guy who did it.
One guy did
And
all the
he's,
shots.
he's a savant. Like, I
That's
don't,
so cool. Yeah.
hopefully now he knows how awesome he is.
I text him good morning every morning.
Because
Good morning
he
and
did an
thank
incredible
you.
job.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Wow.
Brady. Shout out to Brady.
You know, one of the things that I liked about, amongst many things, I loved your film, was takes place like 5 minutes into the future. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not like 3,000 years
Yeah.
into it. It's kind of like 5 minutes. Everything is, all the details are micro.
Yes,
You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that was intentional.
It's kind of nice.
It
though,
was, yeah.
because it has to do with the virus. You know, people post-pandemic probably don't want to watch a film that's just about a virus. So it's like having that sci-fi element where
Yeah.
it's like, you know, you can
Yeah.
kind of take yourself out of that like realism.
Yeah.
Is kind of
So,
really
to
a blessing
that
in
point,
disguise. You know what I mean?
I got a bit of counsel. It was 2021 or no, it was 2020. The American film market for 2020. I got a bit of counsel. Well, he's like, well, you have a unique opportunity where this is very connected to the times, so we tried a different title.
Yeah.
So I was trying Incurable at the market, and nobody, I mean nobody, watched the movie or gave us any kind of. So when we switched it back to Electric Sleep, that's when we got our offers. But
It's a cool title. I'm glad you guys
yeah,
stuck with
Electric
us.
Sleep that was the move.
You guys were at AFM 2020?
Yeah, the digital one.
Yeah, we were there too.
Oh, okay, awesome.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Were you guys ever in like the horror room?
I didn't go to the horror stuff.
BJ was not only the tip of the spear, but the entire spear when it came to like the distribution things. And he and I talked about that a lot, but because for our film, obviously, it's like there were certain things we talked about, like you just kind of want to see yourself. And I think, obviously you can talk more to that, but like that whole distribution thing, you know, BJ's just listening to podcasts, reading, you know, like having these printouts of stuff. So all the AFM stuff, I mean, that's kudos to him, man.
Yeah.
Just running through brick walls to make that happen.
Yeah, we did it. We got to watch pitch things. It was funny.
Yeah.
You know.
That's so funny. We don't share that experience with most people,
Yeah,
so it's
there's
like.
not a lot of people that know AFM or go to AFM.
But especially that specific year, like
Especially
it was
that
a very
year.
odd
Yes.
experience.
There's a lot of things odd about it. Because
Yeah.
I was in my living room. Actually, no. I did go to Ife's office sometimes for my meetings.
Yeah.
But then there was a lot of the different like sessions I would just be watching in my living
Yeah.
room. And
Did you guys see the pitches?
Nah, I never really do the pitches, to be
It was
honest.
probably the most painful
'cause-
videos I've ever seen
Well,
in
because
my
it was
life.
virtual and there was all this technical difficulties
Yeah.
where people are being frozen. It's like they're frozen,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they have like a countdown,
Yeah.
and it was very awkward.
Yeah.
But I felt really bad for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
But it was an
not
experience.
fun.
But I'm glad we went.
But
yeah.
this is what I wanted to ask to the 5 minutes in the future thing.
Yeah.
What were other films were like reference points of this?
Slight was a big one.
Slight.
Haven't seen that.
Actually,
It was J.D. Dillard's first feature film. He
Slight.
did Sweetheart, and he did the aviation movie. I'm forgetting the name. Devotion.
Yeah.
That was a big one. Black Mirror, of course. I mean, we naturally like Black Mirror.
Love Black Mirror.
yeah.
Yeah, I think even it's more Black Mirror than Twilight Zone because it is tech based, as
Yeah.
opposed to like being fantasy,
Yeah.
whatever you would
Yeah.
place
Right,
Twilight.
right.
But yeah, I mean, we were trying to be smart, and obviously Black Mirror was hot. The Twilight Zone reboot was just popping off when we were finishing the script. So in our head, it was like, oh well, there's this wave, we can jump on it, and let's make this thing. And then, of course, by the time we're all done, you know, I went to the last season of Black Mirror, and Twilight Zone's dead, and
Yeah.
it was kind of like, oh, all right. Well,
But it was intentional. I mean, this may not sound sexy, you know, like other filmmakers maybe just have an idea, like, we got this idea, we got to run with it. I think for us as well, and BJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but like we also knew, story aside, it's got to check off some things. It's got to be entertaining.
Yeah.
It's got to have, I mean, I know for myself as a black director, that's something that I've actually heard from like higher producers. It's like there's not a lot of just black people, especially like black men that understand the sci-fi workflow when it comes to those things. And that's usually why you see like a sci-fi movie, it tends to scale a lot higher than like your, you know, maybe like a horror, you know, or a Duplass Brothers kind of thing, because the buy-in is going to be immediately so much more.
Yeah.
And that was a decision that we made like from the jump was like, if it's got to have this tech, then it's like, how do you deconstruct it in a way that works for our budget, you know? And so even like, you know, the idea of like the heads-up display being in the contact was intentional instead of them having glasses because it's cheaper for an actor just to blink than to think like, about, you know, so like all that stuff was so intentional.
Which I laugh every time, and Mikkel knows I love him. It's cheaper to do that without the glasses. But at the end, when he just decides to type like crazy, I was like, come on, Mikkel. Like, every one of those letters you're typing.
Was it funny to watch when they're just like...
Well, because like we're watching him do it, and I'm like, obviously it's great and it works. But I was just like, oh, this is going to be a VFX nightmare. I think half of the VFX time was spent on him typing.
Right, because you know...
But it looked great.
Normally, you would have a VFX person on set, right?
Yes.
So you guys didn't.
So we would call. We had a buddy that we'd call.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh,
friend John,
do this, do that," and we're like, "Okay." And then, but then by the time we're done with the movie, he was swamped with all of his stuff.
He's working on Star Wars. I think literally he's a real VFX. He's a professional.
Okay.
So he's like,
swamped is what he was.
I can't help that anymore.
Yeah, he couldn't do it. So you know the guy that we brought in again, he killed it.
Yeah.
But it was.
Yeah. Do you think that you guys were able to work with him because of the pandemic specifically? Because it was a slow time and.
With Sean, the original guy you're saying? Or
your VFX artist.
I went to, again, going back to our college, very small school.
Yeah.
And so I knew, especially in the film department, you know, we had a really close relationship, you know, from like the top down kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I was friends with him, even though it was a couple of years between us. But going to that kids movie,
I was just going to say.
he was a senior that year. So, you know, like, and I worked very closely, like, with as a mentor.
So the kids movie was shot with the school
yes,
we
it was
went
shot
to.
with the school.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, it was half, you know, doing the program, the book, but also the students had the opportunity to come work on set.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and that was great because, you know, you're hanging out with them and you're treating them to, like, you know, 15 kids to Waffle House, so it only costs like $6. And
Waffle House.
We had our first Waffle House experience.
Oh my
God
God.
bless you. Isn't it beautiful?
Love it, yeah.
Got some eggs and bacon. And
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I can't stand
Give me
it.
those,
No?
those capped and smothered hash
No
browns.
one wants that.
The
No one
waffles
wants
are
that.
bomb.
No,
Oh,
I
man.
refuse.
Gentlemen, there is
so
a young person or old person out there that wants to do what you did. They want to make an indie film that's crammed with special effects. What advice do you have to this person? Or they just want to be filmmakers?
They just want to be right to what you have,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love that.
like literally what you have.
Yeah.
And
Not what you think you have. Because we thought we had some stuff. Like the first house location, we had it. Hey guys, we have the perfect house. They said you're cleared to go.
Right.
All right, we're on our way. Like, well, it was the week before.
it was the week. Yeah.
Hey, we sold it.
Oh, no.
It had been on the market for a year.
They didn't tell you guys?
Well, they told us it's sold now. And so then,
Oh, no.
so we didn't have
Okay.
the house, but we thought we had it. So right to what you know you
Yeah.
have.
That's when Super
Right.
Ben producer jumps in, gets a new house, right? That's what you did, right?
Theo actually did the
Oh,
one on that
okay,
one.
okay.
Because he's like, well, I know a guy.
Okay.
He called up. And but yes, to what you have.
Nice.
Okay.
So asking a lot of favors, I assume.
Oh, man.
Yeah, asking a lot of favors, man. We can talk about this for hours. There is something I think when you're making films. Joe, most people already know it's like, hey, you're not paying my day rate, right? And you know the quality you have in your mind, but you know the budget. You can't reach that. I've worked as an AD as well for like the past 7 years, and thankfully I had a good reputation for getting people out and things like that, and finding that. Well, here's a long-winded way of saying this: nobody cares about the project, but they care about you.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Like no one cares about the project, and understanding that, and then having people work on because they care about you, and you're just like, hey, I'm gonna do my best, and that goes to Mikkel, our actor, typing and thing. He was just like, Theo, I don't know if this is gonna work, but when we finally got the VFX shots, and I would send him clips. I mean, he and I would talk. He'd be like, I had no idea, and there's kind of that funny feeling when people watch our movies. Maybe you guys did as well. When people are just like, I knew I was going to watch a low-budget indie movie, but that kind of feels it doesn't quite feel like the other maybe indie movies of that. And I think that's because that intentionality, but also having those people invest in you, because a rising tide lifts all ships. And if you get enough people to like kind of believe in like this harbor that you have, you can really elevate your project. But that goes back to the work, again, like the work that, BJ is not just producing, but literally making breakfast. We're sleeping on the location, like the set that we're having, like all the little things between it, like planning for all that stuff, know. So.
And what was the most like challenging thing for you, Ben?
One of the things that I've had to tell, and I think specifically of some of the arguments with our few executive producers on the project, because some things went too slow or some things went over budget, whatever, and so we're going back and forth trying to understand what happened. And I remember telling them, I was like, look, guys, we all knew we didn't know what we're doing going in. We were people that have made sheds before, and we said, we think we can build a house. We're building that house. It's just happening different and longer than we expected. And I think that was kind of, my biggest thing was, especially, so I didn't go to film school. I don't have a degree in film. So my experience with these guys has always been kind of more voyeuristic, I feel. Although I know, like, I've been very helpful with all of our projects, but I don't know the first thing about a camera or lighting or any of this stuff. So I'm making the breakfast, I'm building the sets, I'm making sure the props are there, I'm making sure everything else goes smooth, because I don't know what to do with those monsters. And with all that said, there was so much that I couldn't have known that we were going to have to deal with and overcome. And yeah, it was just, it was a lot. But what I will say, one of my favorite things about the project is every day, when we finished, me and him sat down and we broke down the day. What worked, what didn't work. If we needed to cuss each other out at the time or whatever it was. And then after that, we'd be like, okay, how do we make tomorrow better? And then even better, how do we make the next project better? And I think that was kind of the biggest thing of like being able to be aware enough in the moment that, hey, we just got to get through this thing. We're learning, we're growing. It's our first project. Who knows what issues are going to come up tomorrow? But we're going to be better equipped next time.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love it.
Nice. Now imagine I'm a scumbag producer that has a coke habit. What's next, guys? We're at the Chateau Marmont. What's next, guys? What are you doing next? I love the movie. Oh, yeah. You want coke, April? Yeah. What's next?
Good question.
I mean, the proof of concept. We shot proof of concept in December, so that's been ending right now.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, well it's called Ivory and Gold. This is the first time publicly I think we're really talking about it. So
a little tease.
Yeah, we really haven't shared too much about it. Yeah. It's called Ivory and Gold. It's a bit of like the easy way to say it is like magic dealing. What happens to like magic in a black community? Think like Dope meets Harry Potter.
Okay,
anything like that. Ooh. But not to like the certain kind of thing. It's not like This is not. It doesn't end, with the police, choke slamming somebody or anything like that. It's really just more so. It's like nobody thinks that Harry Potter's a white movie. It's just a movie with magic. So
right.
And I think for us and a lot of people that we've kind of shared that's resonated with that is that we just want to kind of tell that kind of story.
Yeah.
Going back to the comic book things, you're reading like Justice League Dark or Constantine or things like that. Like those interesting magical elements. Yeah. I think that's just really a really fun, interesting world to kind of play in, like American Gods, right?
Yeah.
It's just a very interesting, unique space.
We definitely need more fantasy, especially on like the more like indie level. You know what I mean? Because you have like big blockbuster fantasy films.
Yeah.
But I love that, and I know you guys are really into genre films.
Oh yeah.
And I know we got to talk because we applied to the same contest.
Yes, we did.
But
BJ is a horror guy, by the way. BJ loves
so
nightmare fuel.
Well, here's the thing.
I get scared.
Here's what I've learned, right? Because I have friends that are horror fans. They've seen it all, they know it all. And then I have friends that abhor horror, and they won't watch any of it.
Interesting.
Those people swear that I am the expert of horror. But then my other friends that are the experts, they're like, you ain't no shit. You haven't seen anything scary until you've seen
Do you like horror films?
Oh, I love horror films.
Then you're a horror
But what I'm saying
lover.
is, is he's trying to set me up to have all this knowledge. And my horror.
No, I feel that.
My horror love is really centered on. I think Ari Aster's work is really kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know, Hereditary.
Yeah.
Just
Which is
Midsommar.
crazy that he's
I
not
just
making
loved it.
horror anymore, you
See
know?
what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just like,
Yeah.
he started with a horror film that was actually meant to be a comedy film.
And
And
I
then,
didn't know it was supposed to be a comedy.
yeah, Hereditary.
Which one was supposed to be a comedy?
Hereditary.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Because
Huh.
now that you look back, it's like, oh, I could see how that could be a comedy film.
But then, Theo, I must ask, do you like horror? Yes, no?
He hates it. No, I'm kidding.
And it's okay, man.
I like The Thing,
Oh, okay.
right? Jurassic Park, you can argue, has certain horror. There's certain aspects,
Yeah.
you know, like whatever that kind of bubble is, but you're not going to see me watching like Skinamarink, you know what I mean?
Right.
I literally, this is not a joke. I get terrified at these films. I don't enjoy getting scared, and I get scared very easily.
Right.
Halloween Horror Nights, all the above.
Yeah.
As long as you know that every horror movie but Debbie and the Devil is shit, we're good.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I love horror movies.
No, yeah, we love it. But I mean, a lot of the people that work with us, honestly, like, don't watch horror.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting because we always find common ground with other things.
And I think they're great, by the way. I hear
it's
him
fun,
talk with like friends, and there's like, man, you want to watch this thing? And there's like, think how terrible, like, you know, the Babadook is. I'm like, that sounds terrible.
The Babadook's
And
pretty
I'm a
scary.
tall guy,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
So imagine me in
yeah.
a theater
That's
like
a good one, yeah.
shaking.
But, like-
that's a lot of energy. You don't want that.
Real talk, though, I'm like that with scary video games. We're
Oh,
like,
I can't do
Yeah,
that either.
Resident Evil.
I want to,
Yeah.
but I can't.
right.
Because
What's
it
the
seems
point?
too much.
I don't want to freak myself out. I want to be Mario
Yeah.
or Zelda.
Because you really don't know what's going to happen
Yeah,
in those
no?
video games.
Yeah.
But-
Man.
So I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, we watch horror movies like comedies. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
I've tried to
or at
unlock
least I
that.
do.
I really have. No joke. I've really tried. I was like, maybe I can just like desensitize to it. And like one
That's what it is,
terrible
though.
day later, I'm just like, no.
So what have we learned? We have learned that Theo does not like horror films. Ben likes them a little bit. We have learned that Theo searches reviews for learning. I search for vanity. And we have also learned that if you want to make your film, write around what you have, not what you think you have.
Yeah.
And gentlemen, I really want to thank you for coming down to the Lair. This has been a
Yeah,
lovely,
I know.
lovely
We
time.
can chat forever
Yeah,
about
like we
filmmaking.
can-
And
Really
Yeah,
go
I thought
for
we
it.
had like
Well,
another
yeah.
hour.
I know.
Yeah, you want to go? Let's go. Yeah.
Well, I would love to actually hear about your. I mean,
Yeah,
like, 'cause
yeah.
I feel that, and I know you guys probably talk about it all the
No,
time.
for sure.
But
Oh, yeah.
like for again making these films. Obviously, we know the kind of budget area that
Yeah.
we're doing. Horror tends to be a popular thing. What was it for you guys? Like, was it genuinely the love of the genre, or is it like we know we can get this, we know we can like,
April, you take it away for you,
Okay,
and
well,
then I can speak for
So,
me. Yeah.
for anybody that doesn't know, we made a movie called Debbie and the Devil. It's a horror comedy that has animation in it. I produced it, Nas wrote it and directed it and animated it and starred in it. And, you know, we have other team, Silent Chris co-produced it and all this stuff. But basically, originally it was pretty much like a horror comedy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it was very different from the film that it ended up being for many reasons. But,
why so?
well, because of budget, I would say mostly, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But so I've always loved horror, and so when I was introduced to Nas, you know, somebody recommended me to him, and they're like, "Oh, he needs a producer," and it was actually the DP, and he was like, "I want to make my first feature as a DP," and anyway, we connected. I read the script, and I saw the teaser that they made, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." So we connected over the love of horror, and then we just decided to make it. But as far as the reason for making the horror film.
Yeah, no,
you
I
can
just
comment on that.
wanted to. Some of the funnest times I've had, like the funnest time I had in a theater as a kid was when I went to see Scream with my friends, and people were like throwing popcorn and yelling and stuff, and it was just a fun time.
You're a sick person.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Theo. We were doing so well, but I just wanted to make something. Because I mean, a horror film with a low budget, you can make that, you can pull that off.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm very impressed with what you guys pulled off with An Electric Sleep.
I
Like,
did
it's-
see. No, I saw a bunch of yours. You know, like got a chance to come through. It's insane.
Oh,
I mean,
thank you,
No,
Theo.
seriously,
Thank you.
like,
Well, I actually got to shout out Robert Bravo because he's a magician.
Yeah.
And like, the stuff was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you heard
no.
how they know Robert Bravo?
Oh yeah, I
okay.
overheard. And by the way, forgive me. Before the show, I was saving all my conversation juice, so I was very quiet.
Yeah,
but
what a funny connection.
yeah, no, I wanted to make something that people could just have fun with and have horror elements in it, but just have something that is fun. Like my next thing is literally just the things that I like, and I think if I just make things of the things that I like, a few other people may like it in the world.
Yeah.
And by a few, hopefully millions and billions.
Can I ask you a personal question to that?
Yeah.
I heard you mention that you had made a teaser. I guess so. You had already been working on the idea before it kind of grown.
It was a long journey. Huh?
Yeah.
But you just said right now is that like the next one you want to make is the one for you. So just curious, like when you came up with that idea for the first one, what was the process like for you when you said, I know there's other stories that I probably am closer to. Like, why not immediately go with that?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, here's the thing with Debbie and the Devil and the second one.
Yeah.
They're really personal.
Yeah.
Like I've always been the type of guy, and I am as professional as one can be. But when it comes to like that little box that you put the thing, my view is put as much of yourself into that because that's authentic. And the flip side of that is that I've heard authenticity can be dangerous and expensive. But on the same token, when you got nothing to lose and you're making your first thing, just fucking swing that thing and knock Goliath off of his crown, or whatever the fuck. I don't know what I'm talking about.
That was good. That was good.
Yeah, but and so Debbie and the Devil, if you watch it, there's a lot of me in there. There's embarrassingly so. And the second one, it's going to be the same thing. And that's how I've always operated. But I've been blessed with knowing people that know the technical aspects. And you know what I mean? So I'm not just some artist that's not weighed down to the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't even know if that answered your question.
No, it definitely did.
But I will say, like, we actually made a documentary just from all the footage from the behind the scenes.
That's awesome.
It's called Hellacious, the making of an indie horror film, right? And
On
we're
Tubi.
It's a feature, and I co-directed it with him, and we just produced it. We had a bunch of we kind of put together our own press junket with interviewing the talent.
Captain Morgan
during
also.
the pandemic, and Captain Morgan.
Yeah.
So kind of like we got really personal, and we kind of we gave people a little bit more insight as to the meaning behind the film and what went into it, and it tells the story of like how we all met, but like it's people really learn about like Nas and like his experience with that movie, and it's very like you said, it's very personal.
Yeah,
I'll let him.
Oh
but you don't have to talk about it. But
no, I mean that one too. Like it was like we were Captain Morgan, who works with us, and April were cutting together the doc, and it was good, and it was like one of those almost like fluffy kind of like, oh, it was great making the movie, blah 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 blah. And then on our 2-year anniversary, I was like, fuck it, man, I could really put some juice in here and make it like really crazy Heart of Darkness, Francis Ford Coppola kind of style. And so I did, and so that's how I like to do it. You know what I mean? Just pump it full of you. That sounded awful. Let's leave it at that. I apologize, Richard. I apologize, everyone in the room. I apologize.
That happens a lot of times.
Yeah. But anywho, gang.
But yeah, I mean, do you guys have any other questions for us? I mean,
I could keep talking to you about this.
Dude, I just want to. There's a whole component of our conversation that we're not having of just geeking out on stuff. Like, what have you seen lately that you think is good? Fuck it, let's go.
Oh man, I mean, I just watched Oppenheimer for like the 5th time.
Right.
Last night.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when this will air, but our friend Richard is here in the studio with us. It's his birthday today.
Hey, Richard.
Happy birthday, Richard.
Visiting from New York.
Happy birthday.
And obviously with the Oscars just happening, he hadn't seen Oppenheimer, so I never missed a chance to watch it.
Oh, nice.
So that's kind of obviously all the Oscar films and things like that. But outside of that, I mean,
what about you, Ben?
Holdovers.
The Holdover. That was a good one.
Holdovers.
Same, yeah.
It's great.
Wait, are these your guys' favorite films of last year?
Oh no, I don't know. I can't say that.
Probably Across the Spider-Verse. That's one of my personal favorites from last
Got
year.
snubbed. Got snubbed.
I mean,
for sure.
it's so good.
I gotta say Godzilla
so
-1.
Oh man.
Oh, the guy. Listen, let's give a personal congratulations to our big man Godzilla. No, I saw it twice, my friend.
I saw it in black and white.
Oh, you did?
I wanted to see it in black and white.
Was it good?
Masterpiece.
Kids, Godzilla has been working in the film industry for 75 years. He's been in over 30 films, and he finally won his first Oscar. Let's go.
To Godzilla.
To chasing your dreams, to never giving
Is
up.
that true?
Yeah,
That's true. Wow.
yeah.
Damn, okay.
It's by far the best.
I love it.
It's just
It's incredible.
what they decided to do.
Oh, man.
It's about a person with PTSD and survivor skill, and they're like, "What if we just put this in a Godzilla movie?"
And what's crazy is my mom told me to go see it, and I was like, "Okay." She's like, "No, you need to go see that one." And like in our family, we don't watch trailers.
Yeah.
So like,
Oh, I love that,
she was
yeah.
like, go see that. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever, Mom. And I go and see it, and I'm just like in the theater. Like,
My friend told me the same thing, and she's not really like a Godzilla fan.
Yeah.
And she's like, I cried.
That's
I
the
still haven't
thing.
seen it, but I've heard
You
it's
have to
really
see
good.
it.
Yeah.
It's
It's
You just have no idea
better.
until you see
It's
it.
better than you think it is.
I
And it's
bet.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
couldn't
the
believe it.
scariest I have seen him be. And I know my Godzilla. I know his moves.
He loves Godzilla. Like, he's got so many
I know him when he
figurines.
jumps up
Yeah.
and down, when he flies backwards. I know
Yeah.
his whole thing. I know all of his shtick.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, this has been like a blast.
Yeah.
A
This is
super
amazing.
fun. I feel like I just want to hang with you
We'll
guys
keep
and
the
talk
conversation
anime
going
and
after
stuff.
we
We've
have
got
that.
a lot of water left in this
Oh,
bottle.
hey. By the way, sorry. Okay, I just keep jump starting the conversation. But are you guys into anime and stuff? Was that an influence on An Electric Sleep?
You know,
Ghost in the Shell, maybe?
Well, I wish I could say so. I saw Ghost in the Shell actually after we made the movie, but I saw it on IMAX. So
Okay.
Oh,
You
nice.
just like,
Well,
boy.
just to-
He's like, but I saw it in like 70 mil at like the City Walk. So
because you can easily just watch it on your smartwatch.
Right, right.
But
Your
IMAX.
smartwatch.
Dune.
No.
Did you see Dune Part 2?
no. But
yet.
but because the City Walk 70 mil is like sold out, and I just we live in LA. I've
It's
got to
hard to
see
not.
it.
Yeah.
It's hard to
I've
not.
got to see it there, and I'm not
Yeah.
gonna watch it. Like looking up at the screen.
No.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But I recommend IMAX.
Exactly.
So you saw it.
Yeah. I saw it in Louisiana, which was the one thing in Louisiana that made me want to come back because their theater was not as great as our LA house.
Sorry,
Though
Louisiana.
I have to say, I love New Orleans.
No
have you ever
shade.
been there?
I'm from Dallas.
Oh, really? Oh, so that's close by?
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I don't know. I'm
right.
saying that like you're coolly from Dallas.
Oh,
Only a couple of hours, man.
Oh, yeah.
would do terrible things for boiled peanuts.
Oh, yeah?
It is
Yeah.
such a southerner thing, but Louisiana.
Boiled
the
peanuts.
food, man.
Yeah, oh my
Don't get me
God.
started on that. Oh,
Yeah.
I had to walk every day so the food wouldn't kill my arteries
Oh,
and
man.
everything. It was a bit much.
smart
But I loved it in New Orleans. I
Yeah.
loved it. I want to go back.
Yeah.
Fuck, I
The
wanna be there.
praline pecans.
come on, some beignets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
Love
God. At the
Louisiana.
Cafe Du Monde.
See, anything is even around the French Quarter, especially when it's not like the touristy like peak season.
Yeah.
Just come on.
You guys, let's go to New Orleans and go watch movies.
Field
and
trip,
stuff.
let's go.
No, let's do it. Let's do it.
Nobody has
Oh.
theaters like us, so that's a moral of the
Yeah,
story.
for sure.
Go
For
to your
sure.
IMAX.
Wow, guys, we
Yeah.
almost went an hour here. Hey, man,
Well, we're gonna
gentlemen.
wrap it up.
Yeah, well, anyway, guys,
Music time.
music time. Let's bump up that cosmic drive. The music hypnotizes the guests to get in our groove,
Yeah.
and then we release the energies. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the trailer of An Electric Sleep.
Yes. Oh shit! I dropped my drink. How embarrassing!
Nice. Yeah.
Can you guys want plug? Like, where can we find you guys on
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're at? And then where can we watch this movie?
Yeah, Mr.Ben_Taylor on Instagram.
I'm Theo Brown on IG. You can also just search my username. It's awesomer. Awesome in the letter R at the end.
Nice.
And then
Yeah.
awesomer Theo.
Yeah.
So I love saying the word awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
are awesome.
Oh,
And then well, the movie's playing on Tubi. It's playing.
Prime.
We're playing on Prime.
we're on Momitu.
I gotta
Love
give a
it.
shout out
Yes.
to Momitu.
Gotta give the shout out to
Indie
Momitu.
streaming
Yes.
service for indie film.
Yeah,
Yep.
love that.
We're on Brick TV.
Yeah, just
and
saw
we're on
it.
Afroland TV as of I don't know.
Okay.
But power to the people. on
I
that
love it.
one.
How exciting! Congratulations,
Thank
you
you.
guys.
It's
Thank
been
you.
amazing, you
been a
know,
journey.
and you make a film, you know, with some friends, and now you end up playing, you know, doing things you never imagined you could dream. So,
And then you make friends with people on the other side of the
Yeah, yeah.
paradigm shift. It's
Yes.
nice. Hey, nice to meet you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
nice
look
to meet
forward
you.
to hanging with you
Pleasure
guys.
is mine.
We're going to
Yeah.
go to New Orleans.
Yeah.
We're gonna party, get some boiled peanuts and some crawfish and stuff. We're going to do our thing.
Yeah, and then you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at April Directs. Keep an eye out for our upcoming projects, our film Waits coming down the road, but just keep an eye out for that. We have a film called Skrilla. It is currently on YouTube. Check
Crushing
out
it.
Amigas, the telenovela on Tubi and
I'm in it.
Amazon.
I speak Spanish.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
subtitles.
Yeah.
And of course, check out Debbie and the Devil. You can buy our Blu-ray on our site, watch it on Amazon or Tubi.
Yeah. Do a festival. Do a Theo, Ben, April, Nas, Chris Troll festival.
It's a
And
good
just watch
weekend.
all of our stuff and
a good
get with your
weekend.
friends.
Yes.
Do some cocaine or something. I don't care.
Or not, you know.
Or not.
Or
you know.
baking
But
soda.
enjoy An Electric Sleep. If you're into sci-fi and genre films and you want to support your local filmmakers, go support and watch those commercials because that's how people get paid.
Awesome.
Thank
All
you
right, gentlemen.
guys.
All right,
Thank you
guys.
guys.
Thank you so much.
I am Dr. Wallace Rockwell, and my partner and wife is Dr. Amber Jones Rockwell.
We use science to improve lives. We built organs, our nanotech. Biomechanics was our passion. After I got sick, we moved the family off the grid, and we were going to focus on us. Of course, the agency wanted more.
This girl, she's sick.
Is the girl going to be an issue?
The girl's heading to Dr. Rockwell's house. We can't risk telling anyone. There is no operation if we're compromised.
Why would you make something like this?
All we wanted to do was to improve human genome sequencing.
We left when they tried to weaponize it. It's even more lethal now.
She knows we're using the nanovirus.
It's not just a regular virus that we can just attack with antibodies. It was made to work.
We need to accelerate getting the team ready.
We don't have much time. They're surrounding the house.
Is there anything we can do?
Pray.
You invented the virus.
I will do anything to save your life.
All those years, we were playing God. We've missed so much.
We can develop a cure.
You sure you're ready for this?